It's a pleasure to be in the new Black Country branch, to be honest with you. We call it new because we had a bit of a change round last year. And we're trying to do things just that extra little bit different this time round. What we want to try and do is keep away from what the ordinary people out there think is boring politics. And what we want to try and do is involve people in things way ahead of that I would normally know about. A lot of people hadn't got a clue about the credit crunch till our very own chairman spoke about it at least 3 years back at several meetings. People thought it was kind of a little bit upsetting, maybe they buried their head in the sands. Well, now the heads are coming straight back out of the sands again and they're starting to take notice. Also in the Black Country, because we've had this little bit of a change around, we've got people whose feet are on the ground, people who actually know what it's like to lose your job, to worry about the family, to worry about the kids, savings are disappearing, all the rest of it. And we think that forewarning people is far better than doing the basic political thing and waiting for everything to catch up, events to catch up. In the BNP, we're pretty damn good at making sure that we know, that people know, that we were right 2 and 3 years down the line. Now then, this is the crunch, not the credit crunch, but the crunch. To make this whole thing work, the Black Country branch and all its little individual cogs like Ken, Gordon, all the families, Jenny, we mustn't forget the ladies, Heather and Wendy, and my 2 next door neighbours who've been with me been with the BNP since I joined back in about 1999-2000. They were there because they saw things and they knew that change needed to happen. Now, when we did the first few speeches, Nick and Simon in fact came down to a few of them, and there were 5, 10, 15 people in a room. Now, it's not bad. I mean, it was an old telephone box, so we're pretty good at what we do, but it was damn good. And we thought we were doing fantastic in the Black Country branch from scratch. Well, now, the Black Country, the same as the potteries, it means nothing to people who are, say, 10 years of age, like our last speaker said. They don't know what the potteries are. They don't know what the Black Country means. The Black Country was the Black Country because it was so full of industry. It's gone. So now we're not just facing the depletion of all of these industries that made Britain and the Black Country the breadbasket of the world, instead of the basket case of the world like it is now. So what we've got to do, we've got to put a full stop under all this, and we've got to say to people, politics is important. Tonight is very important. But what's going to be even more important is when we produce these and we send this newsletter out in colour, and we don't want to waste the opportunity of giving people an opportunity to be more inclusive. And I hate to use these buzzwords, but it's kind of good in a way. We can use these words against our enemy. It's nice to be inclusive because on the back of it, I've got what's called the Patriotic Business Pages. Now, this will be rolled out up and down the country, but in the Black Country and the West Midlands in general and Birmingham, it's been pretty successful up to yet. Now, that is only 2 or 3 months old, and it's full of people. Pubs, our own people there. We've got, on these business pages, we've got a local pub where Russ, our councillor, has been kind enough to invent a cocktail called BNP, which is
it's blackcurrant, navy, rum and port.
BNP.
Anybody want one?
Right? So, Russ, being a very imaginative chap, didn't have many hiccups thinking about this one. So what he's done, he's providing an opportunity there, as kind of logical as it might seem, nip into the pub, pint, local landlord, who got arrested last year, by the way, in front of all his staff and a few neighbours, for another alleged racial comment. But I'm not going to go through that because we've done all that before. And he's just the ideal person that we need on this patriotic business list. Now, there's an Asian business yellow pages, or whatever they call it, brown pages, I don't know. And there's the Black Business Forum, but there's nothing for patriotic British people. Now, if we can start something like this from scratch, and we can roll it out throughout the country, wouldn't it be nice to, next time you've got a fridge or an old car, or you need something out the way, you can phone the very first person, Les, who happens to be now our new organiser in East Birmingham. Stand up, Les. He was the first person, the very first person to put his name on this list. And the second person is over there, and I don't know whether we ought to ask him to stand up because he's still got a bad leg. Terry, he was the second person. There he is. Terry is a qualified driving instructor, 8 years experience. The other 8 years, he ain't got a clue what he was doing, but he survived, you know. And if you want your son or your grandkid, and you know they're starting to learn to drive, they want to know about what they have to do, there's your man. So already we're keeping this thing in our community. Yeah. Now then, community. It's a little bit more than just waiting for someone to pick the phone up and phone you. Now, we've had this in the Black Country before. The Black Country isn't a club. No political party is a club. You can walk down to the Liberal Club and the Conservative Club and talk to anybody you like and get in there. When it's a little bit different with the Black Country, because we have to have the meetings all over the place, because now we're growing that quickly and that fast that people want to know where these places are, so we can't function in one area. So the same applies to this list, the Patriotic Business Pages, because if you now think that at least you've got somebody who can move some rubbish in a fridge, in a car, or whatever, or a big factory that needs clearing out, or whatever it is, you know that on this list there's a person you can ring. If your kids want to take their test and want a little bit of tuition, you know you've got a man there. Now I'm just going to read some of the people on this list. Terry and Les we've already introduced. The Victoria Public House, he's on the list, mainly because when Russ does his little bit in there away from the council, Russ does a fantastic job of quite literally standing on his proverbial soapbox and doing the business there. And he's got us in there many a time after the elections, where we've had tea and biscuits after the elections, and mainly a nice